The World Tour season is officially over with the Tour of Guangxi finished, and this year has certainly showed us a lot of drama along the way in the biggest races on the calendar. And in today's video we're going to take a look at the 10 best riders according to the UCI rider ranking. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the videos. First on our list is friend of the channel Joao Almeida. Almeida had another solid season with second place in Tirreno Adriatico, followed up by another podium at Vuelta a Catalunya, finishing behind two other riders on this list. And his big goal of the year was the Giro d'Italia, where he managed to finish third in the opening time trial and was high up in the GC throughout the race. But the big highlight for him personally was on stage 16, where he attacked with Geraint Thomas and managed to outsprint Thomas for the stage win. And subsequently Almeida was able to climb onto his first career Grand Tour podium in Rome as well. However, he was not done there, as he also managed to finish second in the Tour of Poland, followed up by 9th place in the Vuelta a España. Next on the list is the rider with the most wins of the season, Jasper Philipsen of Alpecin-Deceuninck, who won 19 victories in total, including 2 in Tirreno Adriatico early on and the Scheldeprijs. But the big highlight for him was his Tour de France, where he absolutely dominated with 4 victories coupled with his green jersey, and even in the classic season he was second in Paris-Roubaix behind his teammate, before rounding it out in the Tour of Turkey, where he dominated once again. Moving on to another UAE rider, and this time it is the transfer of the 2023 season, Adam Yates. Yates had an incredible year, finishing third in the UAE Tour, winning the final stage up Jabal Hafid, and later he won the Queen stage as well as the overall at the Tour de Romandie. Furthermore, before the Tour de France, Yates was the best of the rest at the Dauphiné, finishing second on the podium, before at the Tour de France he managed to win on the opening stage, taking the yellow jersey and keeping it until stage 5. Yates proved his worth even more in the mountains, acting as a super domestique for Tadej Pogačar, and he even managed to battle his way onto the third step of the podium, his first career Grand Tour podium. Yet he wasn't done there, as he also finished third in the Vuelta a Burgos before winning the GP Montreal and 6th in Il Lombardia. Now we come to a special rider, and it is the double world champion Mathieu van der Poel, who had not only been a force on the road but also dominated the cyclocross season at the beginning of the year. But on the road his accomplishments were huge, including winning Milan-San Remo after a perfectly timed but daring attack on the Poggio, followed by a battle in the Tour of Flanders and winning Paris-Roubaix for the first time in his career, before at the Tour de France he showed himself as a true teammate and did exceptional lead-outs for Jasper Philipsen to help him clinch that green jersey. And at the World Championships, Mathieu van der Poel dominated the road race and won in a very crazy hard edition of the championship. Mathieu van der Poel even managed to round out his road season by winning at the Super 8 Classic to celebrate for the first time in the rainbow jersey on the road. Moving on to another rider who's tasted rainbow success, and that is Mads Pedersen, who is in fact not the highest placed Dane on the list. Pedersen began the year winning the Étoile de Bessèges time trial, then going on to win stage 2 of Paris-Nice, and in the classics being in the mix in several races, even returning to the podium in the Tour of Flanders and a very strong 4th place at Paris-Roubaix. At his first Grand Tour, the Giro d'Italia, Pedersen managed to win in Napoli, and in the Tour de France he was able to outsprint a red-hot Jasper Philipsen in Le Mans, before at the World Championships Mads Pedersen managed to get in the elite selection and get himself a 4th place finish. But Pedersen wasn't done there, as he managed to have the perfect week at the Tour of Denmark, winning the final time trial and thereby clinching the overall, before 24 hours later going to the Burma Classic in Germany, and he also went on to win that. The next rider on our list is none other than Wout van Aert, who has had a very busy year. He himself was at the cyclocross season, but in the road season he managed to get himself on the podium once again at Milan-San Remo, before winning the E3 Saxo Bank Classic ahead of Van der Poel and Pogačar. And then Wout van Aert helped his teammate Laporte clinch Gent-Wevelgem, before himself finishing 4th in Tour of Flanders, and then at Paris-Roubaix finishing 3rd after sustaining a puncture in the crucial final moments of the race. Wout came back at the Tour de Suisse, where he was very consistent in the sprints and won the points classification, and at the Tour Wout was frustratingly close to several stage wins but ultimately left the race without any success for himself. And at the World Championships he was second in the road race behind Mathieu van der Poel, but he did manage to bounce back and win the Coppa Bernocchi sprint. Not a bad year for Wout, but certainly not his best season. Staying on the Belgian theme, and Remco Evenepoel is 4th on the world ranking. Evenepoel opened his winning account at the UAE Tour, where he won the team time trial with his team Soudal Quickstep and held on in the mountains to win the overall ahead of Luke Plapp and Adam Yates. Thereafter, he was in a close battle with Primoz Roglic at the Vuelta a Catalunya, winning 2 stages in the process and finishing 2nd. Remco Evenepoel, as the world champion, went to Liège-Bastogne-Liège and absolutely dominated the race, and nobody could follow his wheel, and he clinched his 2nd title there. At his first Grand Tour, the Giro d'Italia, Remco began in a winning way, taking the opening time trial in Abruzzo and thereby donning the Maglia Rosa for the first time in his career, and he even went on to win the 9th stage as well, another time trial, but had to withdraw sadly because of illness. Remco returned to racing at the Tour de Suisse, where he was able to finish on the podium and won stage 7 after the devastating loss of Gino Mera, and dedicated the victory to his memory. Remco then went to San Sebastian, and here he managed to win for the 3rd time in his career, beating Bilbao in a sprint. And at the World Championships, Remco was unable to defend his road title, but managed to win the World Time Trial title for the first time in his career as a senior. And at the Vuelta a España, Remco was strong in the opening 2 weeks, and on stage 3 he even took the stage win before on stage 13 he had an off day and switched his focus to stage hunting, and he did this quite successfully as he managed to win on stage 14 and 18 and pick up the Mansus jersey as well. He finished the season off by finishing 9th in Il Lombardia and 2nd in the Chrono des Nations. The 3rd rider on our list is none other than Primoz Roglic, who had an incredible year, dominating Tirreno Adriatico, winning 3 stages along the way and all the classifications including the overall. And at the Vuelta a Catalunya, he managed to win 2 stages and take the overall ahead of Remco and Almeida before he headed to the Giro d'Italia. He was up there in contention before sealing the win on stage 20 in a remarkable mountain time trial, and thereby he won his first Giro d'Italia title in his career. His 2nd Grand Tour was the Vuelta a España, but before that he went to the Vuelta a Burgos, where he won 2 stages plus the team time trial with his team, winning it in the process. And he went to the Vuelta a España, where he finished 3rd overall behind his 2 teammates of Vingegaard and Sepp Kuss. But along the way, Roglic was very strong, winning 2 stages, including the infamous Angliru stage, and he rounded out his season in the Italian Classics, where he managed to finish 3rd in Il Lombardia. But prior to that, he won the Giro d'Emilia in a phenomenal style, an absolutely incredible season from the superstar, who will of course be going to Bora Hansgrohe next year. Number 2 on the list is none other than the Tour de France champion, now double Tour de France champion Vingegaard, who had an incredible year, starting out by winning Gran Camino. Then he became the first Dane to podium in Paris-Nice before he dominated the Tour of Basque Country, winning 3 stages in the process. And then in the Dauphiné, he won 2 stages and had one of the biggest margins seen in the race for 30 years. At the Tour, he was strong, taking the yellow jersey on stage 6 and keeping it all the way to Paris, clinching the win with an incredible time trial on stage 16, and became the first Dane to win 2 titles of the race. Vingegaard closed the season at the Vuelta a España, where he managed to finish 2nd on the podium to Sepp Kuss, where he even won on the Col de Tourmalet and another stage, and was 2nd on the Angliru stage as well. An incredible year for him, and we'll see where he goes next. Now coming to number 1, and this is of course Tadej Pogačar, who dominated the early season, winning the Vuelta a Andalucía before he dominated Paris-Nice ahead of Jonas Vingegaard and David Gaudu. And in the classic season, Pogačar really came into his own as he finished 4th in Milan-San Remo, 3rd in E3, and at Ronde van Vlaanderen he managed to do the somewhat impossible and drop Van der Poel and Solo to the finish before winning Amstel Gold, then winning Flèche Wallonne, and unfortunately he was denied that treble as he crashed in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Pogačar, with that wrist injury, did manage to come back and won both the national road race and time trial in Slovenia. And at the Tour de France, despite the concern of the wrist, he still managed to win on stage 6, and he pushed Vingegaard very closely throughout the race until stage 16 in the time trial. And at the Col de la Loze, that was the breaking point, but he did manage to bounce back and won stage 20 and took the white jersey for a 4th year, which is a record in itself, and finished 2nd overall. Pogačar then went to the World Championships where he finished third in a very competitive race, and he finished the season by picking up numerous top 5 positions in the Italian one-day races and finished the season by winning his third consecutive Il Lombardia. Truly remarkable, and what a season he had. That is basically it for this video. Make sure to comment down below which rider you think had the best season in your opinion, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and of course, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you around.